Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm back today with a really simple card. I always have trouble making men's cards, so today I'm having a go at making something that's kind of cute because I like my little shaped cards, but also will work to give to the men in your life. So I've decided to use Mintay's By the Lake parts of their collection, so I'll show you those in a minute once I've shown you the card. So these are little cards. They're landscape steppers. As you can see there, if I get that one out of the way, you can see a bit better maybe. That's it. Look complicated, but they're actually a faux stepper. So I'll show you what that means in a minute. There's no using your craft knife or anything like that. It's all simple cutting and scoring. And there's hardly any scoring at that, to be honest. So that's my first one with my little hamper and hat by the lake. And the bird there, that's that one. And this is my one with the fishing boat, the heron, and those papers in green, as you can see. So I'll give you another look at those in a minute and I'll show you what we're doing. So these are the papers and the bits of the collection that I've used. I've used the little 6x8 pad from Mintay by the Lake. This has got some lovely patterns in it and some images that you could also use parts of these in this kind of card on the back panel. So there's dragonflies, bulrushes and wood panelling. There's also cut parts in this collection. So there's flowers, and there's also this one of animals and nature, little ducks, dogs, boats, anything that you can make a scene from. There's this gorgeous one of ferns. I really love that one. The water one, I'm showing you sideways because it's easier to see the patterns, isn't it? That one is, and again, the scenes that you can see there. And we're back to the beginning with more of those images. So that is the paper pad, and I think that's quite a good one for men and for women, but it works quite well with all this fishing and by the lake kind of thing for men's cards. So there's also a pack of paper die cuts. There's 60, there's loads in this pack. Look at that. If I hold that up, you can see there's birds, baskets, multiple boats and fishing gear, and just nature elements. So it will do for both men and women depending on how you make this card. There's a set of stickers, large words and little sentiments, and some more scripty words. So I've used these little sentiments out of here for my cards, and then there's some stickers as well, which are the same images as your die cuts. So if you don't want to get the stickers, you can just use the die cuts. So let's get cracking. So as usual, I'm just going to put the measurements here on the screen, and then you can take a picture of that. So it's a landscape stepper, and first of all we need an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of card. So I'm going to use a bluish piece on this one, and I'd probably suggest on this card, because you're not doing a lot of matting and layering, I'm just doing the card and then one lot of pattern paper, I would suggest using a coloured background. So this is why I've used these papers. So you need to score at 1, 2 and 5.25. So 1, 2, excuse me about that, I couldn't hold that in. Sorry about that. And 5.25. Got the sneezes this morning. Something's tickling my nose. And on this second score line, I just score it on the opposite side as well. That way, when you fold it like this, so first of all it's a mountain, then a valley, and then a mountain, like so. If you have a little piece left over, which I don't know why I always do, just must be the way I'm cutting this, but you can trim that off on your trimmer, or you can trim it with your scissors up to that amount there. I'm just going to trim that little snippet there, get rid of that, And there we have that. Okay, I'd have been better on my trimmer, but there we are. Okay, and then you just need to reinforce those folds like that. Let me just trim that bit off. Okay, really make those nice crisp folds on there. So that gives you the step part of your card. Then you need, let's get this back in, you need your top piece, which is 6 by 3 inches, and on the long side you want to score at 4. So score that at 4, and that is the end of the cutting and scoring. So it is super simple. So line that one up and score on your fold line. Those are your 2 pieces. I told you it was simple. So next you need some papers. So first bit is an inside piece, which I'm using white if you're using a coloured piece of card as your sentiment panel. And this needs to be 5 1/4 by 3. And I'd say stamp it if you're going to stamp with a sentiment now rather than once you've got it stuck in your card. So I just put "Have a lovely day" from one of my stamps out of my many stamps like we have. Then there's a large outside mat. That also needs to be 5 1/4 by 3. So I've used this wood panel one, or I could use this checkered one on the back. Then I've got a strip at the front, which is going to be at the bottom of my stepper. I've got the green plaid or the dandelion clocks there. And then I need a top mat base, which is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. I've used from the same piece of paper, because this was like this, the dark part as my bottom mat, and there's my top mat, which is 3 1/2 by 2 1/2. I've used the lighter part so it'll show up my images, but it'll also make that pop forward. And on this piece I've added some foam pads just to make that stand out. So that's what we've got there. And now it is literally a case of sticking it together. So I'm going to pop inside first my sentiment panel. Just get my glue working. And I'm just going to glue that inside here. Get that nice and lined up, and you can pop that one inside. Now these cards are great for making really quickly, because you can just get all these pieces already cut and you're literally ready to go. You can just have all the bases made up, all scored, and then each little bit you can work it in a like conveyor belt style, and they'd be perfect for Christmas cards. I'm thinking of doing some in Christmas ones so that I can show you what they look like made up like that. And then this last piece, I'm going to decide which way I want it. I'm thinking I'm liking the dandelion. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Keep with the blue theme, although all of them kind of match together. And then I'm going to pop that one on the front, like so. Because sometimes you want super complicated, and other times you want them to look good, but you don't want to make masses of effort. So we've got that now, our inside done, our back panel, and our little strip at the front. Then you bring in this piece. Now if you open this up with your smaller piece at the top, all you need to do now is, let me find my tape, I'm using red line tape, and you just need to pop a bit at the bottom, put that one up, and a bit at the top on the inside. So that's us on the inside. You can add a bit more than this if you want, but I've found this is plenty. So taking off the long side first. Let's get that off. All you want to do is hold your card and decide where along here you want this to be. It can be on the right hand side, the left hand side, in the middle, wherever you want. I like mine over a bit by about 3/4 of an inch there. and you want to line your top card up with the base there, so that it'll stand flat when you stand it, and you want to stick that down. Then all you want to do is flip it over, take this piece off. Let's get that off a minute. If we do it just like that. Take that off, hold your card flat and stick it down. Simple as that. And then that gives you your stepper mechanism. And without welding everything too shut, you can put some more tape on there if you want to hold it like that, but to me it's fine, it all bends. And that is your base. So then we can stick on our first layer of our front mat. So this is the base of the front mat. I'm going to put my dark down the bottom there. I think that's good. And then this one, I'm going to just take off my foam pads that I've been very good and stuck on earlier. Just so you don't have to watch me sticking every bit of foam pad on. And I'm going to stick that to the front. Again, my darker bit towards the bottom. So there's my base. It's all blending in with this actually, isn't it? So now I've got some elements that I want to put on my card. And one of them is a little sentiment. I've got choose happiness on this, and then I've pulled out from the bag quite a few pieces of, let me just get something to stick that on. If I pop them on this white piece, you'll be able to see it a bit better, won't you? There we go. Didn't realise it would all blend in so much there. Okay, so I've got quite a few elements here. The boat, ducks, little lily pads and a fishing tackle box. So I'm just going to make a little scene up here. It would be a shame not to use my boat on this water themed scene. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some dimension by sticking them on foam pads. So I'm not going to pop too much all around, making sure they're glued down. They don't need many, it's only a little card. So I'm going to angle that one on, get it to the bottom. I'm not going to stick it down too hard to start with. Just going to get it so that it's roughly in place, so that if I do need to adjust it a touch, I can do. I've also got this fishing rod that I want to incorporate in, so I'm going to pop that in now, but I'm just going to add that on with a touch of glue. Oops, that's more than a touch. Let's get that on there. Why is it with glue, when you don't want it to stick on or come out, masses of it comes out? There we go. Right, that'll do. That's that one. Get our fishing rod on, just poking up a touch, I think, there. Get that straight. Okay, there's our fishing rod. Then I'm going to have my lily pad here, I think. Or do I prefer this one? I think I prefer the two. No, I prefer the one. There we go. I've also got this reel of rope, so I could stick that in as well if I wanted to. And I've got this that I quite like popping them across the middle like this. So I'm going to do that to start with. I'm going to pop my sentiment along that front piece. Let's get it out for a minute. See if I can get this off. That's a no. Let's try again here. It's better. Okay, so we want it to stick up on that side, so let's pop our sentiment up on one side, and on the other side we'll just stick it straight to what is already stuck up there. Oops, me catching the side of the camera. Let's pop that one on, move that across a touch. It's quite nice if you just have bits stuck out just a tiny touch. There we go. that one stuck on. We get our lily pad stuck down. Put that one there. He'll be better up. I think he'll be better up actually. Put him on there. You have to have a bit of a fiddle about when you're doing these kind of cards just to get it exactly how you want it. And you do want to fiddle about with the layering because it looks quite good when you do layer everything up. Just going to stick that part to there. There we go. Lay it down, and then I think I'm going to put that on there. So let's see if I can get that stuck down a bit better. I hope you're all having a good summer wherever you are, if it's summer in your part of the world, and if it's not, I hope your winter is not too wild. We've already had a storm here in the UK, a really wild one, which is kind of an unusual summery storm, but you all know what the British weather's like. So there's that. And now I just want something to balance this corner, so I'm going to have, you see, you could layer up again, but I think I'd probably have too much going on there maybe, or would I? Let's see. Or should we go for it? Let's get the swan in on the action, shall we? If we're going to do it, we might as well get it all going on. Let's pop the swan on. There we are. Make a little scene. Gives you something to look at when you open the card, doesn't it? And then I'm going to add the small or the large dragonfly. The large one, we're going for it. Get my glue working. Okay, there's my glue. I'm just going to pop some glue up the middle there, and making sure it's not over the edges when you come to close the card. That is what I'm going to go with. So that is my main bit of the card, and I'm just going to finish that off. Bring it here so you can see it on there. I'm just going to finish that off with a couple of gems, because I like a bit of sparkle on it. So I'm going to go for those two up there, bringing your eye to that top corner, and just the one down here in this corner. And that is my little card complete. So I hope you like that. It looks really cute, I think. Be great to pass to any man in your life or lady in your life. This doesn't mean to say that ladies don't like a little bit of fishing going on and by the lake. So I'll just show you my three together again. That's that one which we've just made, and our other two there. And I think they work great together. So I hope you like that little card style. There's lots of versions of this on the internet, so do have a look. The design is definitely not mine. Some other clever person has thought out how to do it this way and to do the landscape, and also I must just say it fits in the A2 is it in the US envelope, and in the UK our little A6 envelopes as well too. So perfect for that. You could also put a piece on the back the same size as this if you wanted to write more of a message here, but as it is, there we go. So that's my little false landscape stepper card for today with Mintay By the Lake papers. I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know what you think, and if you like the video, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.